I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but it's crazy how this shit makes you feel. And I've had fevers, I've had bad colds, but this shit is fucking crazy. Alright, let's get to work. Story time with JC. Let's get into this video. Hey, what's up guys? My name is JC. I am Strong. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss nothing. If you're part of my crew, mi familia, mi raza, you already know. Súbanse a la Suburban. Story time with JC. What's up guys? Hey, if I still sound a little bit out of it, it's because I am. This shit has been kicking my ass for what, 2 weeks now? 2 weeks now, and man, I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but still feel it. But like I said, today I'm gonna get up, do some stuff. I'm actually gonna go to the park and walk around for a little bit, see if I feel any better. But yeah, story time with JC. So when I first went into the Federal Bureau of Prisoners, is that how you say it? When I first went into the feds in the mid-90s, when I was transferred to La Tuna, the federal system was a very, very different system what it is today. And what I mean by that is there wasn't a lot of gangs in the feds. There was only big cases. There was a lot of Colombians. There was a lot of mobsters, a lot of big gang leaders, you know, from the Crips, the Bloods, just big cases. It wasn't what it is now. Today, I mean, a simple gun case could get you into the feds. It was just a very, very different time. I mean, they even had more money because it was less crowded. So back then it was like Wendy's was like the provider for all our burgers, chicken, all that stuff. We had chocolate and regular milk. We had pop machines. I mean, it was like a camp, you know. And in La Tuna, they had a full-blown gym. Well, when I got to La Tuna, I was very, very much into my drug addiction. I was I was a fucking 100% addict, like whatever you could give me. And back then you could smoke cigarettes. There was a lot of things you could do in the feds, you know. And like I said, there wasn't a lot of gangs. So when I got there was only 2 gangs on that whole yard. The Aztecas and the homies, Sureños, you know, from California. When I got there, pretty much there was me and another dude from Chicago, and he ended up leaving that week. And later on I'll tell you a story about him because he ended up robbing me in the future. But I tell you, I've had a very fucking interesting life, I must say. I was actually working on my book today all fucking morning since 3. Here, I'll turn the camera a little bit so you can see that I'm not lying. It's still on there actually. Yeah. I got up at 3, started working on my book. I should be done and it should be released by sometime, I want to say in June or July, pretty much summertime. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm gonna do like my first like release and like book signing. I know I have to try and make Chicago first. I mean, obviously because it's my hometown, but then I need to decide like where, you know, Chicago, Texas, California, Florida, like what way I'm gonna go in order to do the whole release of my book. But a lot of stuff's coming together, man. It's been a long, slow ride, but I believe because that's just the way it needed to happen. You know, a lot of people blow up overnight. Some people have to work a little bit harder, and I just believe, and I have to believe that, you know, God is just putting everything into plan for me, and that's the way it's gonna go. All right, let me get back to my story. So when I got there was 2 guys from Chicago. He ended up leaving. So I started hanging out with Dos Sureños a lot. I just started kicking with them, and I talk a little bit more about them in my book. But there was Smokey, there was Güero, there was Flaco. There was a lot of them that, you know, I just took a liking to them. They were cool. I hung around with them, and like I was saying, this was very different times in the feds. Like a lot of the dudes that were there from Arizona were like bank robbers. Very different cases to what the feds are now. So you know, there was a lot of drugs on the yard, and that's why there was a lot of tension between the Sureños and the Aztecas on the yard, because obviously, you know, the bigger group wants to bring in the drugs and everything and have control of it. And, you know, obviously that was, you know, the Barrio Azteca's backyard. I mean, you could literally see the Mexican flag from La Tuna where we're at on the yard. And there was always kind of like a little bit of tension with them. You know, there was moments where it just seemed like it was gonna kick off, and the homies were like walking around with knives all the time and stuff like that. And, you know, I had just got back from Mexico, so I was just happy actually that I was out of fucking Mexico and that I was alive. So they used to hook it up all the time, you know, They would give me, you know, weed all the time, and I would go out there and play handball, and I used to just kick it with them. And one day, you know, I was so into my drug addiction that I was willing to pretty much try anything that would fuck me up. Whether that's pills, just anything. This is how sick in the head I was with my addiction. Anything that would fuck me up. And there was a couple of the homies that, you know, used to like to fuck with the heroin, with the H. And I'll never forget the day that I think that shit needed to happen, because it changed my whole way of thinking about that drug. And I'm just glad that I really never got into it. But there was a group of us sitting down, right? And obviously it was hard to get syringes in, so there was only one syringe for everybody. I mean, that didn't even cross my mind while I was thinking that I wanted to get high. That was one. That should be the red flag 1. You know, and then 2, they started using it, you know, and they started going around, and then, you know, it was getting closer and closer to me, and I was actually really like looking forward to it. I was actually anxious because I had heard about it and everything, but like I've said in the past, in Chicago, it's very different. The gangs have a big list of rules and regulations that there is no drug use with needles, no drug use with pipes. It's just very controlled, and you get beat up. You get into a lot of trouble if they find out that you're using. Yeah, there's a couple members that end up, you know, pretty much going MIA because they turn into addicts like that. And it's just very controlled. They don't let people use heavy drugs like that. So everybody was using it. Everybody started shooting up. Everybody was like sitting back. You know, I had never really seen it, only in movies. And it was Smokey's turn. So he hit himself, right? Boom. And he fucking just fell out. His eyes fucking flipped back. He started like shaking. All the homies grabbed him, threw him in the shower with cold water. I just remember seeing everything, and it was happening so fucking fast, and I was like, what the fuck? And remember, I'm still like a fucking kid. If you see look at the picture, I'm a fucking kid still. And he comes back like fucking nothing, right? And he's like, alright, it's your turn. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that shit. and my kid scared the shit out of me, man. It was like, so this is a drug that you like can probably die, but you like it? And I was like, fuck that. But from that day, I was like, I knew that I had to draw the line somewhere in my drug addiction, like somewhere. And I think that's what kind of led for me when I got out into being what you call a functioning addict. I mean, I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm just saying that it kind of like set the guidelines where I was kind of like, I stuck to something that I knew was causing the effects that I needed to feel, like forget, blah, 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 shit like that. But I was still going to work and stuff like that. But it was those moments that made me think about, did I really want to make the pact with the devil like that? Like, and it scared me. So I was like, no, I don't. You know, but what I'm trying to say by that is sometimes it's okay to be afraid. You should be afraid of going back to the old you. You should be afraid of what's gonna happen to you if you take a drink again, if you've been sober. You should be afraid of thinking that if you pick up that pipe again and smoke, like what's gonna happen to you. I always remember, and it's very, very important that you don't forget, because it's what keeps us sober. Besides the program, besides doing the steps, besides doing everything that you need to do in order to remain sober, you have to remember how you felt when you were getting high and all these things. Like when I was smoking crack, being paranoid, feeling like a piece of shit. Like there was times where I was showering. I don't know, I couldn't get like the guilt off of me. And then the chasing that, like the fulfillment, it was just never there. I kept chasing, and these were horrible feelings to me, horrible, that I never want to feel again. And I just think about it and it scares me. Like it scares me to the point where I'm like, holy shit, like I don't ever want to do that shit. I don't ever want to touch it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that has helped me stay sober this long, and to the point where like I never want to do it again, because it takes moments like that where you actually have to forget where you've come from, how much you've traveled to get to where you're at. And that's so important in a life that we've lived on the streets, whether that's money, drugs, women, all this stuff. Because you know, a lot of people, even a lot of my old friends, they're like, come on dude, are you really faithful to your wife? And I'm like, yeah, because they know how I used to be. I was an addict to like sex, porn, all these things. And I think about how I used to feel and what it was, all the work to maintain that monster, to keep going and going, and I think about how I feel now and what I am now, and you couldn't even pay me to go back that way. I love my wife. She makes me happy. She makes me laugh. You know, she loves me so much that knowing that I had the coronavirus, she took care of me, and now she's sick in bed. So, you know, we have to sometimes wake up, man, and really think about what we want long term, because we make a lot of decisions that are immediate gratification, but we don't think about what it's gonna do long term. And that's the biggest thing, man. You know, we talk about everything on this channel. We talk about gangs, we talk about cartel, we talk about prison time, but the main thing is raw and the strong, because anything can be that. Anything. My name's JC. I am Wrong and Strong. Remember, don't judge nobody, stay in your lane, live savage, and remember, you only have one life to live. Live it out here, free, not gang banging, not getting high, out here making your life better every day. It doesn't matter what you did in the past. What matters is what we do from this day on. I'll catch you guys later.